Hi, this is Rhonda with Colorado Farm Girl Designs. A little craft for floral, and this one actually I'm going to continue. Yesterday I used the stems of cotton and the stems excuse me, of the eucalyptus, the money eucalyptus. So I'm going to use those. I have a package of them, so I'm going to use them up, and I will put the link down in the comments below when I get done. But let me show you what they look like. They were about $15 a package. Both of them, I think they were $14.99 or $15 or something. And they come in a package with 6 stems in it. So this is what they look like. And I've kind of cut on mine already. I kind of thought out my arrangement ahead of time to save some time. But that's what they come in the package like. So, like I said, I think they're about $15 for 6 stems. So that makes them $2 and a half a piece or something like that. Hi, Paula. So what I have is another picture frame. I know you guys loved that last picture frame I did with the buffalo check, but this one actually I wrapped with burlap, and it was just another one of my friend Cindy. She was always bringing me home junk, but she brought me home a picture frame, and I actually tried to use it, but I couldn't get it sanded down good enough, and the paint was a little bit funky on it, so I just decided to use it for this. And I used burlap, but you could use, this is just some stuff that I had. It's about 4 inches wide, and it's actually finished on the edges. But if you had any kind of ribbon that you have, I wouldn't use, I know I always talk about wire ribbon and how I love the wire edged ribbon, but if you have, I wouldn't use that on this. I would just use it without the wire edge. It would be fine if that's what you have, but that wouldn't be my first choice. So I just wrapped it around and glued it, and so it's on there. So I'm gonna get started. Provided my glue gun got hot, that would have been a good thing to check before I got online. Okay, here we go. I'll see if I can get it to where you can see it. Maybe, hopefully. It's always a little bit tricky. There you go. There we can see a little bit better. Okay, so here I'm gonna do it real similar to that one that I did for my, is that a little bit better? I'm gonna do it really similar to the one that I did for my, with the buffalo check and the pine and those different things that I used on that one. I'm just going to start out, and I'm going to run it down. I'm going to go down the frame, and if you look at this, it looks like I got it upside down possibly, so I'm going to turn it over. But if you look at this, it's actually wired. The stems are wired. We talked about that when I did the one in the milk can. So if you haven't seen that video yet, go back and look at that one. But I love it when they're all wired and I can use them. And I want it to have a design that goes around the edge of the, so your eye moves like this. That's what I'm aiming for here. So I'm just going to put a couple of dots, not dots, a couple of shots, I guess, not dots, of hot glue on there, and I can mess with these after I get them on there. Get this a little bit better. Is that better? Yeah, that's better. Okay. So I'm just going to go down with my eucalyptus and put a couple of different branches on there. And then this one, okay. So I kind of laid these out ahead of time, not that I just like to make it a little bit faster so you guys can watch it. But I've cut these with my wire cutters. So probably if you're gonna do it, any kind of floral design on, that has real wire in it, which almost all of it does, it is wired on some level, you'll need to get yourself a pair of wire cutters. So if you haven't checked out our Blooming with Colorado Farm Girl Designs group yet, check that out. I'll keep adding stuff in there there will be stuff eventually that is not on our regular Colorado Farm Girl page. So I would put a little shot of glue up here too, because that way, in case, that way the gravity doesn't take over, basically. So I'll let that cool for a second, and you kind of want to hide your stems. You know, we're going to use the cotton on top of this, so it's going to, and a bow, excuse me, of course. So that's going to hide your stems on some level, but you're going to want to hide your stems also as good as you can. So I've got those, and then I've got some more that I tucked down here. And this is, like I said, there's 6 stems in the package, and this is about half of a package of the eucalyptus and about half of the package of the cotton also. So I was thinking about the cotton yesterday, me saying that I didn't know anywhere that, I had never been where they grew it, but my grandma, and she's been gone a long time, probably 25 years she's been gone, but she lived, my grandma counts, she lived to be really old, and she actually, when she was a little kid, had to pick cotton with their family because they, of course, didn't have any money, like a lot of people back then. And the kids actually started picking cotton with the parents when they were big enough to walk. So that was for free. I was thinking about that after I talked about it yesterday, and I thought, wouldn't she just be amazed to think that we were using it for something pretty now? Because I don't think cotton picking was a real fond memory of hers. So I'm just going along and I'm putting these, I'm just making it, ouch, I'm just making it move around the edge of the frame is what I'm doing here. Then I'm going to put my cotton on there after this. So the mechanics are what you want to cover up, and the mechanics is whatever you use that helps your flower arrangement to stay together. So this case, you know, when you're using soap flowers, you can pretty much use glue, and if you're doing something like this, you can use glue and call it good, but there's also stems and things like that you need to cover up. And I have a little bit of moss that I can put on it, left over from my project yesterday if I want to. And a glue gun. You know, what did we do before glue guns? I suppose we didn't do stuff like this. Okay, so now if you look at this, you can see that I have pretty much my framework for my cotton to go on there now. I can't quite get my light right. Sorry about that. I don't know what to do about that. Nothing, I guess. So I'm gonna place those, if you can see them. Maybe I'll move my body, block that really bright light. I'm just gonna place these along here, and I don't like the way that one's got I cut some off of it, so I don't like that little stumpy edge looking part of it. Maybe I'm gonna cut it. That's why I cut these ahead of time, is because apparently I'm not strong enough. So I want to start, I don't want them lined up like soldiers, but I also don't want them to fan out too much, because I think they would be distracting. So I'm going to start laying them on there. That one I've got a little bit of white stem showing, so I'm going to have to put a piece of, have to make sure one of the other stems covers up that little piece. If you can see I've kind of got a little Y going there. I'm not lining them straight up. I'm going to make a little kind of a veer out of it. I can't think of another word for it, where it's going to veer off a little bit. And you have to hold, I don't know if you've not used a glue gun, first suggestion is don't have hot melt, have the low temp melt one, which I do not have today, because of course the only kind of glue sticks I could find were the hot ones, but use the low temp ones, and it takes a minute. You know, when you're doing like something like this, these stems have a little bit of weight to them, so it's going to take it a minute for it to actually set up. And I'm going to tuck my stems, my cotton stems, kind of underneath my eucalyptus. So it kind of helps, back to that covering the mechanics idea, helps cover the mechanics a little bit. And I just worked my way from the top to the bottom is what I've done here. And I've got this kind of fanning out a little bit up here at the top, and I'm going to do the same thing as I go with my cotton stems. I'm going to kind of have them shaped to where they have a little bit of interest also. And that's just going to make your eye move that way. Back to that hints about the glue gun, don't stick your finger in it if you've got the hot melt. The low temp, it doesn't burn you as bad, but the high temp, it'll actually blister you up pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to want to put some down here so it brings it down, so your eye comes down. I may not like that one sticking out quite so much. I may mess with that. Actually, it came unglued. That is not good. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to go along here and glue these puppies down. Cut that one off just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to just keep going. I'm just going to go right down the bottom of it. That cotton ball fell off. And you can either put the glue on actually on the cotton, on the wired stems, or you can put it on the frame. It doesn't matter, whichever one you want to do works just fine. You just want to make sure you get enough glue to hold it on there. You know, you could, if you're really ambitious, you could wire this and not glue it, but quite frankly, I don't know why you'd want to do that, because that would be a lot more work. So, almost. So I've used about 3 stems on this, because that's about what I had cut up here. So I just kind of wedged that. I don't know if you just saw what I did. I just kind of wedged it underneath there, and then I'm going to glue it. Kind of twisted it in between the stems, and I'm going to glue it. And then I'm going to cover all this little corner up with a bow, so it will be covered up pretty good. So this is kind of a kind of a wintry arrangement to kind of get, you know, the thing is when we take all of our decorations down after Christmas, our houses look so empty and so bare. And it's really hard to not feel like your house is naked. So this might be something that you could do. You could do the one that I did yesterday, because it still has kind of a wintry feel, but it doesn't have the red and green Christmas look to it that we've had up for a couple of weeks or a month or however long you're a Christmas decorator. however long you had Christmas stuff up. I had an aunt that left it up, I think, till the 19th of January. I don't remember what the whole story with that was, but that's how she always left it up. There was a story. I just don't remember it. I'm kind of a Christmas write down kind of a girl myself. Take it down right after Christmas. Okay. So, I'm going to stick this little guy right here. I don't know if you can see that at all. Can you see it? Well, sort of. Kind of, huh? So if you look at it, and I'll do a better positioning of it. I just really wanted to get it to where you could see what I was doing, but it's got some movement in the, when your eye moves, when it goes from the top to the bottom of the arrangement, that's what your goal is. I ran out of glue sticks, so I had to get another one. Somewhere I have a loose one, this is it. Okay, so now I'm going to, if you look at it here, I'm going to put my bow, I have a bow, then I'm going to make a bow for it in the corner. And I'm going to use the same ribbon I used yesterday, actually. Right here. This is, it's just a nice burlap ribbon. It's not anything, you know, very, so this, it's from the dollar store also. Somebody asked me that yesterday. And it's probably 2 inches, probably wide, and it has a wired edge, so I like all those things about it. So, I'm actually going to use this one. I'm just going to cut the stick off a little bit. And then I'm going to add some loops to it because I think it needs a couple more loops. So the dollar store has ribbon, and I didn't know that for the longest time. At our dollar store, it's back by the craft kind of stuff. So if you go back there, back by where they have the rocks and junk like that, and it's kind of hidden. Ours is anyway. It's up on a shelf, and you have to kind of actually work at finding it. But it's $1, and it's, you know, 9 feet, which is enough to make a nice, decent sized bow out of. So I'm going to make my bow, and we've talked about this a couple times. So you scrunch it in the middle, and then you twist it, and you make a loop that covers your finger, and then you scrunch it again. But I'm actually not going to do that because I'm going to tuck it underneath that one, so I'm not going to make a cover loop is what they call that. So I'm just going to do the scrunch. Almost forgotten, had a grave error there. And I'm making these loops a little bit bigger than the loops on the other one because I want it to tuck underneath the other one. So I have maybe 2 loops out of this, and then I'll have a little tail. And again, this is wired, which makes it really nice because then you can actually shape it however you want it. So that's what I've got, and I'm going to stick one of these picks with a wire on it. If you just have, actually it would work better if you just had plain old floral wire, but I don't happen to have that in my house. Have it out in my shop, but I didn't get in the house with it to do this. My shop is just cold this morning, and I just didn't want to warm it up to do this, so that's why I'm doing it in my house. Plus then you get to see my house. So I just have a nice bow. It's just the loopy part. And then I have this part that I'm actually going to place on top of it. You could also do, if you wanted to do a bow with like different colored loops. I've seen that, and that's really cute. So I'm just going to lay this right smack in the corner there. You can see that. right in the corner, and then I'm going to put some hot glue underneath it. Try not to burn myself. And this is going to cover up our little pile of stems that we have where the stems came together and met in the corner. That's really going to cover that up. And I kind of left off with my cotton, although there's a piece right there that's going to get covered up by the bow. But I kind of left off with my cotton about where I thought my bow was going to be. Okay, and then I'm going to put my other piece, I'm going to tuck that. That piece is not sticking very good. I'm going to tuck my other piece right down in the inside the center of that piece. And like I said, I've got a couple of tails here that I'm going to have on there. So now I'll glue this piece right here to that piece right there, but I'm going to turn it the other way. So I'll just put a big shot of glue right in the middle of it. There we go. Then I'm going to let that cool for a minute, and then I'm going to scrunch around on it and get it all fluffed up and pretty. Get my tails nice. And then I will take a picture and post it on Facebook when I get it done. But isn't that cool? It's hard to see it. I apologize for my lack of skills in the videoing department. But I'll take a picture where you can see it better. Thank you for joining me today, and stay tuned for next time. Thanks. Have a great day.